Welcome to Jesus God News. I'm Xanadu Santorum. The headlines: top academics in mass protests. Swedish terror organisation threatens the White House. Breakthrough in computer science paves the way for the computers of tomorrow. Scholars from 7 religious universities throughout America have been staging a series of protests after being forced to use quotation marks around their academic titles. The Commission for the Avoidance of Devaluing Education, or CADE, has recommended these sweeping changes be brought in as soon as possible, in a bid to help employers more easily distinguish between actual and religious qualifications. Biblical biology professor Albert Winnett from the Jesus Faith Heart St Mary's the Apostle Olstein Evangelical College in North Carolina said that this is a terrible blow. Our undergraduates will be outed as having worthless degrees. The teaching staff's morale hasn't been this low since the courts required us to end our Jew rolling course. Dr. William Lane Craig was said to be hysterical after being informed of the news whilst leaving the house of his masseur late last night. MI5 and the FBI were reported to be nonchalant after a group of militant homeopaths threatened to continue their campaign of terror and intimidation. The group, known as the Stockholm Homeopathic Information Taskforce, rose to prominence after claiming responsibility for 2 bags of sugar and a bottle of tap water that was sent to the White House, causing at least 5 confirmed cases of eye-rolling and tutting disorder. The group claimed that both the sugar and water had been stored quite near to a shed containing weed killer. A message sent to government offices in Washington and London was published on the group's website last night. The foolish US and UK governments must enact laws immediately that prevent people laughing at homeopathic qualifications and fund new research proving it works, or we will poison the world's water supply by dumping 17 molecules of echinacea infusion into the Pacific Ocean, disrupting the chi flows of billions. You have been warned. Upon hearing this story on Fox News, the GOP Science Committee immediately proposed a bill to ban homeopathic marriages and invade Denmark. Great and powerful Christian philosopher Randy Ticklesnatch last night published his latest groundbreaking theory on religious computer science. The respected and oft-quoted online academic who holds the PowerPoint chair at the online University of Jesus, Alabama, revealed his completed thesis after he'd sent it to some friends for peer review and publication in the prestigious journal Facebook. He briefly outlined his totally not racist Chinese Mary's Knowledge Room thesis to a group of rhesus monkeys at a bus stop, saying, "The mind, right, it's like totally like computers and stuff, and if space-time is emergent, and that's being proved anyway, then because the quantum mind of Jesus like makes trees green, therefore every computer has a little colourblind girl called Mary inside it, who can only communicate through flashing lights, and who quantum observes Chinese characters, which is why they're all made in China, to install the little girl. It all makes sense. And Jesus is like the hard drive? Please send me money." Entertainment news now, and the hit musical Annie is heading to theatres in North Carolina this spring. The musical, about a precocious young orphan with no formal education and a passion for rich old men, took Wisconsin by storm last month, selling dozens of tickets in its first 2 weeks of opening. The soundtrack is also being released, with each lucky ticket holder receiving 8 free signed copies, which includes hits like Assume the Conclusion, Pretend Condescend, No You Are, Mind Matter Doesn't Matter, Quantum Kisses, and the timeless classic, I Don't Need No Fancy Learning. Showrunner IP Showers spoke from a crowded toilet cubicle last night, telling an uninterested reporter that it's the classic apologist story. Boy gets depressed because there's no evidence for his God, so he latches onto some highly convoluted theories and learns some science-sounding words, and before you know it, he shacks up with a suspiciously generous old man who's always initiating conversations about gay sex. I'm Xanadu Santorum, and your update to version 2.0 has been completed successfully.